Have you ever wondered who was the single player that transformed football from just a sport into an art form? The man who made football not just about winning games, but about playing beautifully. Today, we dive into the story of a legend who shaped modern football as we know it. His name, Johan Cruyff. A boy from the streets of Amsterdam who grew into one of the most influential figures in football history. His legacy wasn't just about goals or trophies. It was about changing the very philosophy of the game. Early life from Amsterdam streets to Ajax dreams. Hendrik Johannes Cruyff, famously known as Johan Cruyff, was born on April 25, 1947 in Amsterdam, Netherlands. His childhood wasn't luxurious or easy. He grew up just a stone's throw away from the Ajax football stadium, which would later become the very stage for his rise to greatness. But Johan's early life was also shaped by hardship. His father, who owned a small greengrocer's shop, tragically passed away when Johan was just 12 years old. This loss deeply affected him, but it also fueled his determination to succeed, not just for himself, but for his family. Football became Johan's escape and his future. From a very young age, he was obsessed with the game. He spent hours playing on the streets, mastering the ball, and developing his unique style. Cruyff wasn't the biggest or the strongest kid, but he had vision, speed, and intelligence far beyond his years. At just 10 years old, he joined the Ajax Youth Academy. Nobody at the time could have guessed that this skinny Dutch kid would one day revolutionize world football. Rise at Ajax, the birth of a football icon. Johan Cruyff made his professional debut for Ajax in 1964 at the age of 17. Almost immediately, he showed he was different. He wasn't just a player who followed instructions. He questioned everything, thought creatively, and pushed boundaries on the pitch. Cruyff had a natural elegance, a fluidity that made him stand out. By the late 1960s and early 1970s, Ajax, led by Cruyff, became a dominant force in Europe. He helped Ajax win multiple Eredivisie titles, and most importantly, 3 consecutive European Cups between 1971 and 1973. He was the heartbeat of total football, a system developed under coach Rinus Michels, which emphasized fluidity, adaptability, and teamwork. In total football, no player had a fixed position. Defenders could attack, attackers could defend, and midfielders could shift anywhere. It required intelligence, creativity, and technical skill, qualities that Cruyff embodied perfectly. This philosophy would not only change Dutch football, but the entire world. Barcelona and global stardom. In 1973, Cruyff moved to FC Barcelona for what was then a world record transfer fee. His arrival at Barca was a turning point in the club's history. At the time, Barcelona was struggling both on and off the pitch, but Cruyff brought hope, flair, and a winning mentality. In his very first season, he led Barcelona to their first La Liga title in 14 years. More importantly, he introduced the Catalan club to a new footballing philosophy, one that valued creativity, intelligence, and playing beautifully. The fans adored him not just for his skill, but also for his charisma and outspoken nature. Cruyff wasn't afraid to stand up for what he believed in. For example, during the 1974 World Cup, he famously refused to wear Adidas gear due to his personal deal with Puma. That same year, he led the Netherlands to the World Cup final with some of the most dazzling football ever seen, though they ultimately lost to West Germany. Despite not lifting the trophy, Cruyff and the Dutch team captured the hearts of fans worldwide and cemented their place in football history. Cruyff turn and playing legacy. Every legend leaves behind a signature, and for Johan Cruyff, it was the Cruyff turn. In the 1974 World Cup against Sweden, he performed a move so audacious and elegant that it left defenders stunned. The trick involved faking a pass and then quickly dragging the ball behind his standing leg to change direction. Today, the Cruyff turn is taught in academies across the globe. Cruyff was more than just skillful. He was a leader. He demanded excellence from his teammates, often pushing them to think differently about the game. By the time his playing career wound down in the late 1970s and early 1980s, Cruyff had left an indelible mark both at Ajax, Barcelona, and internationally. Career shaping the future of football. If Johan Cruyff had only been a player, he would still be remembered as one of the greatest. But what made him truly immortal was his transition into coaching. After retiring as a player, he returned to Ajax as a coach in the mid-1980s. It was here that he began to experiment with his vision of football, focusing heavily on youth development. But it was at Barcelona where Cruyff's coaching legacy exploded. In 1988, he took over as manager of a struggling Barcelona side. side and transformed them completely. Cruyff built what became known as the Dream Team, with players like Pep Guardiola, Ronald Koeman, and Risto Stoichkov. Barcelona played breathtaking football, winning 4 consecutive La Liga titles and their first ever European Cup in 1992. More importantly, Cruyff laid the foundations for Barcelona's famous La Masia Academy. His philosophy of possession-based, attacking football shaped future generations of players, most notably Xavi, Iniesta, and Lionel Messi. Without Cruyff, the tiki-taka style that defined Barcelona and Spain in the 2000s would not exist. Philosophy and influence. Cruyff believed football should be played with joy, intelligence, and creativity. His famous quote, "Football is simple, but the hardest thing is to play simple football," sums up his philosophy. He stressed that technical skill and vision mattered more than physicality. His ideas went beyond tactics. Cruyff also pushed for modern training facilities, nutrition plans, and youth academies. He believed in giving young players a chance, something that has become standard in today's game. Perhaps his biggest legacy is the managers and players he influenced. Pep Guardiola, one of the greatest managers of all time, openly admits that Cruyff was his biggest inspiration. The way Barcelona and Spain dominated football in the 21st century was built on Cruyff's foundation. Personal life and challenges. Off the pitch, Cruyff was outspoken, charismatic, and sometimes controversial. He wasn't afraid to criticize football authorities or stand up for his principles. He also faced challenges, most notably health problems. In the 1990s, he had a heart bypass surgery after years of heavy smoking. Later in life, he battled lung cancer, which he bravely fought while continuing to inspire the football world. Despite his struggles, Cruyff remained a symbol of resilience and innovation. His presence was always larger than life, both in the Netherlands and in Barcelona, where he was revered as a legend. Death and legacy. On March 24, 2016, Johan Cruyff passed away at the age of 68 after a battle with cancer. The football world mourned deeply, with tributes pouring in from every corner of the globe. Barcelona held ceremonies, Ajax honored him, and fans remembered not just his brilliance on the field, but the way he changed the very essence of football. His legacy lives on in every football academy, in every young player who dreams big, and in every coach who values creativity over brute strength. Johan Cruyff wasn't just a footballer, he was a visionary who transformed the game into an art form, the eternal maestro. So, who was Johan Cruyff? He was more than a boy from Amsterdam, more than a footballer, more than a coach. He was a philosopher, an innovator, and an artist. He made football beautiful. And that's the magic of Cruyff, because even after his passing, every time we see a perfectly timed pass, a clever piece of skill, or a team playing with flair and intelligence, we are reminded of the man who showed us that football is not just about winning, it's about playing beautifully.